Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes. It is the 15th of March and it is 8:45 and that can only mean one thing. We are doing FPL talk, fantasy talk, everything fantasy and football related this morning. As always, we'll go straight in, no messing about, and I will show you guys what I can see. Hope you're having a good start to the wonderful Saturday morning. Hope you got plans today. Do fun stuff as always. But here you go. Have a little look at this bad boy. It is Saturday and we have Premier League fixtures. Now, the big thing to point out, and it is a huge thing, we have a blank game week. Game week 29 is blank for 4 in the Premier League. That's right. We have Liverpool and we have Newcastle. They have a lovely Carabao Cup final tomorrow, battling it out. Fingers crossed. I'm not going to be biased for both teams, but mainly for Newcastle, just because they haven't won a trophy in God knows how long. So it'd be fantastic for them to get a trophy under the belt. But otherwise, Liverpool, hopefully they can also do well, because I do have a fair few other assets, as do you guys. Mo Salah, say no more. Yes, they've got a match tomorrow. Crystal Palace also, who missed out on a fixture this game week, as well as Aston Villa. So if you've got any players or assets from those two teams, you have until 1:30 today to either move them out or to rejig your team to try and get a starting 11. The fixtures today: Everton versus West Ham. Don't forget, we're kicking off at 3 o'clock today. It is the 15th of March. It's Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoffs. That's the start. So you've got until 1:30 people to do your team. Everton versus West Ham. Going to be a good game. Looking forward to that one. I reckon that's going to be a nice little juicy draw. Probably a 2-2, maybe a 1-1. Beto's the man to watch for Everton for me. Maybe a Mikalenko if he gets involved with the assist side of things. Unfortunately, if you've got defence, I don't think Pickford's keeping a clean sheet in this match. West Ham-wise, there's 2 people to keep an eye on, isn't there? Really? You could argue maybe 3 in Bowen and Kudus, but obviously Souček is involved, isn't he? All good things going on for West Ham right this second, so maybe him as well. I reckon maybe a 1-1, possibly a 2-2 in that game. Ipswich versus Forest at Ipswich's ground, so it's going to be a victory for Forest. I think it could even be a clean sheet again for the Forest team. I've missed out on a couple of clean sheets from Nico Williams in the past few game weeks purely because I expected them to at least concede one, and they didn't. They've been so good defensively. So Nico Williams, clean sheet against Ipswich. Yes, I can see that. But the goal, or goals, should I say, Chris Wood, I think is going to be back amongst the goals again against Ipswich. I really can see him. If Ipswich are going to do anything, it's going to be maybe a Philogene, maybe a Delap. Opportunity perhaps even Leif Davis, because he's doing quite well. I've quite enjoyed watching Leif Davis for Ipswich. But otherwise, Forest goal is probably going to come from maybe a Wood, maybe a Gibbs White, with Hudson-Odoi and Elanga are just explosive on those wings, aren't they? So those 2 guys might be involved as well. City versus Brighton. It's a tricky one, isn't it, really? Any other given day wouldn't be. Maybe a draw. Maybe a very, 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 very squeezed win for City. Depends if they play my man Marmoush. I brought him in. They rested him last week, didn't they? Brought him on for a substitute cameo, but it's a bit too late by that point. You need to get him started. He's like a live wire for them. City win maybe if they start Marmoush and play the big guns. But otherwise, I think it could be a 1-1, maybe a 2-1 draw to 2-1 win to City. Brighton-wise, if they're going to get anything from this game, I think it's going to come as João Pedro, maybe a Welbeck, maybe even a Mitoma thing. City-wise, Haaland, I think, might score today. And maybe... I'd like Marmoush to play and then get involved in that game, maybe an assist. Foden potentially getting a goal in this game if he plays for City and starts as well. Southampton Wolves going to be a good fixture, that one. Both teams in need of a win, really, but I can see Wolves winning it just about. But don't forget they're without Cunha, who's banned still, isn't he? Southampton, desperate for points. I can't see them getting them there in this game. I can see Wolves scraping a win, maybe a 2-0 or 1-0 win for Wolves in this game. Strand Larsen, I think, might get a goal in this one. He's probably going to be the main source of that, really, with Cunha out at the moment. So I think Strand Larsen's mental. If Southampton are going to do anything, are they going to play Tyler Dibling? I think he's been sort of benched, hasn't he, for a few weeks now. If that's resting or just change of formation from Juric, but we'll see. But otherwise, Wolves win in that one. Bournemouth versus Brentford, great game. That's going to be at 5:30 today. That's possibly the pick of the games, apart from maybe the Everton and West Ham game. But Bournemouth versus Brentford, I can see Bournemouth winning Really can. But I think it's going to be goals this one. I think it's going to be probably like a 2-3-1, 3-2, something like that. Bournemouth-wise, goals. I'm hoping they're playing my man Dango because he's been out of the team last week, wasn't he? Because Ivan Nilsson's back. I don't think he will. I think Dango might be benched or come off early. But Kluivert's the man to watch. I don't know if Semenyo's injured. I read some news about potentially an injury. I don't know if he is. If he is, then maybe that is a chance for Dango to come back into the team and start the whole match for the top end of 60 minutes. So fingers crossed, but Kluivert's the man to watch for Bournemouth for me. Brentford-wise, there's only two players that really in that team who tend to spark apart from Sade and Damsgaard, who are usually involved in some form, but it's Mbeumo and Wissa really to see if they do anything for Brentford. I do have Mbeumo in the team, so fingers crossed he pays back the transfer this week. Then we got Sunday's fixtures, 1:30, the match of the game week without a doubt. It's Arsenal versus Chelsea at the Emirates. It's going to be a good game. I expect Arsenal to win. I don't expect Arsenal to keep a clean sheet, unfortunately. In terms of the goals, I think Arsenal's goal might come from Odegaard, maybe a set piece or a penalty in that sense. I also think maybe that I'm hoping that Nwaneri's involved. He hasn't been in midweek, so I'm hoping he starts for Arsenal against Chelsea. Saka's not quite fit just yet. It's going to be after the international break, I think, when he comes back into full fitness and possibly even starting for Arsenal again. So Arsenal versus Chelsea, 2-1, 3-1 maybe to Arsenal. Odegaard goal. Perhaps Martinelli if he's back as well, maybe Trossard involved in some form. Chelsea's goal, I'm hoping, comes from Cole Palmer or some form of an assist or involvement in some form because he's going to drop like a stone if he doesn't start doing well. Fulham versus Spurs at 1:30. Also, that's going to be an okay game, decent game. Spurs coming off the back of their win in midweek against AZ Alkmaar, so they're through in the Europa League. And Fulham doing okay at the moment, aren't they? In terms of the goals for that one, Jimenez looks like he's back starting for Fulham, so potentially him involved. Maybe Smith Rowe, those two guys involved for Fulham. But I think Spurs are going to win it. I really do. I think they're going to win 2-1. I got the tails up a little bit. Odegaard did really well midweek, but I think Son's going to be involved. Maybe Dominic Solanke as well, because he's back from injury starting, isn't he? So maybe Solanke, Son involved for Spurs in some form. And then Leicester versus Man United to finish off game week 29 at 7 o'clock on Sunday evening. United win. They again are coming back off the back of an excellent performance against Real Sociedad. Bruno Fernandes has got his form back as he looks really good. Got his hat-trick midweek, so I think he's going to be involved. I think it's going to be a 3-1, maybe a 3-2-0, something like that. Fernandes heavily involved with the goals, possibly 1 or 2 for him. Leicester's goal may come from Vardy or someone like that, but otherwise I think it's going to be United victory in general. So don't forget, blank game week, ladies and gents. I'm on all of the socials. I'm on Facebook, AJP85-channel. I'm on AJ1985p. To start, if I get it right, AJ1985p. I'm on Twitch, A_J_P_P_8_5. And I'm obviously on the wonderful YouTube, AJ Hardy 85, which is where all of the videos go afterwards. Like, subscribe, and follow people, and we can be special friends. What makes me different in terms of my fantasy and general FPL videos and YouTube is the fact that I do it raw. I'm sat in a conservatory. I don't have any gaming dungeons or anything like that. I don't have any special mics. I don't have any fancy headsets. I don't have any fancy bits like that. It's just me playing my team and giving you guys my advice. If you've got any questions, as always, pop them in the chat. I'll have a look at the end if there's any there. And I do have a question from this week, actually, believe it or not. So I'll bring that up in a minute, sort of towards the end of this video. So without further ado, the team reveal. Now, I am fortunate, ladies and gents, and I'm clever also, that I've spent the last few game weeks making transfers to the point where I can at least have a starting 11 this game week, and I do. There you go. That is my team for this game week. Now, when I say starting 11, just bear with me 2 seconds. I'm just going to quickly click on a plug. Whoa. Mid-break. There we go. The joys of live videos. But yes, I will show you my starting 11, which you guys can see right this second. And I've been quite clever. I really have been quite clever in the sense that I brought in over the few weeks, I've gradually changed my team a little bit. So what I've done is made transfers as the weeks have gone on to ensure that at least I had a starting 11. Now, that starting 11 was starting up until about a game week or two ago when I started slowly seeing Wanyeri being kicked out for Arsenal and Dango being kicked out for Bournemouth, which is a major pain. So they are both back into the team. That's good news. So I'm hoping they play some part for Arsenal and for Bournemouth this weekend. They have been playing parts for the two respective teams and also last game week. So I'm hoping they're not completely out of the question and out of the picture for those two sides. In goal, we've got David Raya against Chelsea. Will he do well? Possibly. I'm looking more for save points from David Raya as opposed to clean sheets this game week. Nico Williams, I'm looking for a clean sheet against Ipswich away. Colwell, I'm looking for maybe a 2-pointer. I can't see much more than that. No yellow card, please, Colwell. Stick with the 2 points. Mikolenko, I'm hoping for a clean sheet, but again, it's West Ham. They're a decent team. They're on the rise of Graham Potter, so unknown. Maybe an assist if I'm lucky for Mikolenko. Otherwise, that could be another 2-pointer. Greaves, I would love him to get a clean sheet and Nico Williams to get a clean sheet and it to be a 0-0. It's not going to happen, I don't think. So Greaves, best I think I'm going to get from him is 2 points. Palmer, hoping to get an assist maybe against Arsenal, maybe a goal. That'd be lovely. We do seem to let all the players that are not doing very well score against us as an Arsenal supporter. Just look at last week, Bruno Fernandes. It's not that he's not a good player, but we thought, oh no, we'll give him a free kick. We'll put the ball right back on the goal line almost and give him a chance. So, yeah, we do like to give teams chances against players who are perhaps not in form. So I'm hoping that Palmer benefits from that. He is vice-captain at the moment. I will talk about that in a minute. Dango, I'm hoping he gets some minutes full stop against Brentford and Buemo. I'm expecting a performance, an assist or a goal or some involvement heavily in that one. The Wanyeri, again, hoping for some involvement. I'll take 60 minutes, but same with Dango, who knows. Mamouche, similar to the other two, hoping for some kind of minutes. Be nice for 60 plus for City against Brighton Hove Albion, and Ipswich Wood has them. And I'm hoping he gets a goal. Now, difficulty this week is captaincy choice, really. And Buemo against Bournemouth, maybe. If Mamouche was a definite starter for Man City, maybe. Cole Palmer against Arsenal is a tricky fixture, isn't it, really? Not sure. So that's why he's vice. So naturally, out of all of the attackers, Chris Wood is the most safe bet, isn't it? And he's not even in form, isn't he? He's not hammering him in week out anymore. He's gone on a bit of a quiet patch for a few game weeks, hasn't he? So right this second, subject to change, Chris Wood has the captaincy. He hasn't scored since game week 25 against Fulham. Since then, he's gone on a 2-game no scoring. But technically speaking, and he has played against Arsenal. And they haven't really scored, but they've basically scored 1 goal against City. Difficult fixture against Ipswich. If we go back to the match that he played against them previously, he did get a goal. It was only 1-0, and that was even at home. So, yeah, as for Cole Palmer, if his form was better, he would be a guaranteed captain. But he hasn't done anything since game week 24 when he got an assist. That's it. And then until that point, game week 21 was the last time he scored a goal. So that's going back quite a while now. Against Arsenal, he didn't do anything in a 1-1 draw at the Emirates previously. However, at Stamford Bridge, this is, however, at the Emirates, should we say. So, who knows? At Stamford Bridge, yeah, it was a 1-1. So at the Emirates, not sure, because Arsenal are at home and at the home side. We will see. I don't think I'll change it. I think I might stick with Wood and hope for the best on that one. But that is my starting 11. To have 11 players who will get some minutes today. Points, not sure. Today's all about getting players on the pitch, really. Let me know if you guys are free hitting, because other players than I do in terms of those that are missing. You might have a Eze, you might have a Crystal Palace defender, Dean Henderson in goal is a big one. You might have a Watkins or a Rodgers from Aston Villa or one of the defenders, or a Rashford or a Senzio. You might have a big Liverpool set of players in terms of the Alexander-Arnold, maybe Alisson, maybe Konate like myself. You might have Mo Salah in your team, of course. You might have a Luis Diaz or a Diego Jota, or even I don't know why, but you might have Darwin Núñez in your team. Who knows? Virgil van Dijk, Robertson. So let me know if you guys have got those players. And then moving over to Newcastle, a lot of you guys have Newcastle. Lewis Hall, I'm sure you're all dumping heavily and very quickly because he's injured for the season. But you may also have a Dan Burn or a Shah in your team, or Livramento. Kieran Trippier, probably not. Midfield, might have Gordon, or like I had previously, Jacob Murphy, who's out of the team. And up front, Isak, obviously, is the man to go to, isn't he? So, in terms of my bench, though, I haven't done any major surgery. Fabianski, unfortunately, is not playing much of West Ham, but I have David Raya, so that's fine. Mo Salah's benched, Konate's benched, and Isak's benched because I have a lot of money tied up in those players. Little point game, despite the fact that their prices have gone down a little bit. So that is my team for this game week. Let me know your team. Let me know how you compare to that. Let me know your captain choice, because to me, that's one of the biggest things for me this week. Who am I captaining? But the fact that X, Y, and Z might not be playing 60 minutes. Dango, Nwaneri, and Marmoush may not get a full 60. But in terms of captaincy, who are you captaining? Because I've got a bit of a complex choice. Because Mbuemo versus Wood versus Palmer is my choice, or a defender. Don't really want to go defender. If I'm going to, Nico Williams is the obvious choice. But yeah, so we move over to the changes. Today's game changes, price changes in the teams. Gabriel has gone up to 6.4. Kirkes has gone up to 5, but do really well for Bournemouth. Even also, João Pedro has gone up to 5.6. Good luck with that one. Guardiola has gone up to 6. Bruno Fernandes has gone up to 8.5 million. Aina's gone up to 5.4, and Milenkovic has gone up to 4.9. In terms of fallers, Veltman's gone down to 4.3. Young for Everton's gone down to 4.4. Trent's gone down to 7.4. Mo's gone down to 13.7. Dubravka's gone down to 4.2, and Alexander Isak has gone down to 9.3. The price changes there. In terms of the predicting what's going to happen, Pickford is apparently going up tonight. He'll be 5.2. Mamouche is apparently going up tonight. He'll be 7.3. Wood is apparently going up to 7.4 tonight. Van Larsen may well go up tonight to 5.3. Bowen is potentially going up to 7.6. And Haaland may well go up to 14.8. Good luck with that one. Not sure about that because he's only 8%. Palmer's likely to go down tonight to 10.8. Chalobah's potentially going down to 4.3. Sumar's going down to 4 points, going down to 4.3. Emerson's potentially down to 4.3. Anderson's going to 4.1. Wow, that'd be cheap. Harwood Bellis is going down to 3.9. Van Beek's injured, may or may not go down to 4 million tonight. McCarthy may go down to 4.3. 4.2, should I say, rather, tonight. Jansky is apparently definitely going down to 4 tonight. Mateta apparently going down to 7.4 tonight as well. And then there's a lot of tomorrow transfers that you can see here. Possibly Wieser, Kluivert possibly going up. 8 Nuri maybe going up tomorrow. Bruno Fernandes maybe going up tomorrow. And Dye going down potentially. Wilson going down potentially. Stephen Luango going down. And James Justin possibly going down tomorrow. So there we go, ladies and gents. What do you think of that team? It is my team for this game week. It's not phenomenal. It's potentially solid. If all of those players are playing, Dango, Nwaneri, and Mamouche were getting 60. I'd feel like, I might do okay. I might beat just game week. I don't think the average is going to be particularly high because a lot of points, especially for myself personally, have come from Mo Salah, Liverpool, and the players in and around that, really. Nico Williams. But this game week's Q1, it's forced upon me, but it's, that's fine by me. Let's be honest, if Dango, Nwaneri, and Mamouche did fully play from Mo Salah, Konate, and Isak. So that would be my starting, team anyway. So that's okay. I have saved up a transfer. I'm going to talk about chips and sort of going forwards now. I've mentioned the week. I'll mention it again this game week and the coming game weeks. Bukayo Saka is my priority. When he is back to full fitness, when he's starting, when he shows signs of being electric for us, that is very much how I'm trying to jig the team a little bit. I will have, hopefully, 2 transfers in the bank to go. I will show you, obviously, what I got last week points-wise so you guys could see. I got 52 last game week, so we'll go over that. Raya got points, Kanata got 2. Colwell got 6. Mikalenko got 2. Palmer got 1. Mo Salah, as I said a minute ago, was my... it's basically my point scorer. You take Mo Salah out of the team. My team is doing badly. 30 for Mo Salah because he was captain. We got 2. Nwaneri got 1. Mamouche got 1, 2. And Isak got 2. Dango got 1 point on the bench. Nico Williams again. I don't know what I'm doing. I bring him in. I don't play him. Nico Williams got 6 and Greaves got 1. I would have ended up with, I would have ended up with 58 if I played that. Instead, I got 52. hit the average points, and that is what it is then at the end of it all. I did make one transfer. Transfer was Jacob Murphy out for Mbuemo. I made that on game week 28 purposely to prepare for game week 29, which is what I've done now. So that was last week's game week 52. Let me know how many points you got last game week. 52. But my plan really going forwards, I do have quite a good chunky amount in the bank. I've got 4.6 million. I do really plan to keep that, save it for the inevitable Bukayo Saka transfer. I will rejig the team slightly, but my plan, as a lot of people will have in midfield, is to have Cole Palmer, Mo Salah, and Mbuemo and Bukayo Saka, which means that Nwaneri and Dango will be sacrificed, as you can imagine. I will try and work out how I'm going to do that. It depends on desperation. It depends on Bukayo Saka's price, because what I don't want to do is see Bukayo Saka go up in price and then suddenly go, I wish I'd transferred him in before that. So I am very conscious of price this season. I'm also conscious that he's going to be a massive spark for Arsenal when he comes back. I think he might spark Arsenal into life. Unfortunately, I don't think personally they're going to win the league. But irrespective of that, I do still think that they're going to do well. And I think that the points are predominantly going to come from Bukayo Saka. So that is my intention. I don't know if you guys think that's a good shout. Let me know if you think that's a good shout or not. But that is the team. Obviously, to get Saka in, Dango and Nwaneri will be sacrificed. Whether I go really, really cheap midfielder, Nwaneri like 4.2 or 3. I think there's one midfielder out there that's 4.23. And then obviously upgrade Dango to Saka. I'm decided. May have to jig the defense around a little bit. I previously mentioned Colwell and Mikalenka being sacrificed for an even cheaper player. I am looking at Hill at Bournemouth. He's back, I think, into the first team. Is it Clint Hill? I think he is, or also Grant Hill. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he's the one Bournemouth defender should say 3.9. He's very cheap. He will be the one to come in potentially to allow me to get Bukayo Saka to get really cheap in the defence. In terms of chips going forwards, I'll mention that really quickly. I haven't really decided how I'm going to do it. I will be keeping the free hit. There is potentially going to be a really, really big blank game week coming up, maybe 32, 33, 34, around that sort of time. Obviously, keep an eye out for that and see which teams end up blanking. Those that blank, they will potentially be the players, no doubt, from my team. Quite at the bulk and the sort of core, right down the spine of my team will probably be the ones that get sort of booted for the blank game week. That will be a free hit moment, I think. Free hit during a real heavy blank week. Game week, in terms of game week 34, 35, I'm looking more. It's bench boosting and wildcarding before that. So wildcard, so my bench is stacked full of players that can come in when I bench boost. When I bench boost, I want to get the maximum out of it, really. So that's the plan. And as for the triple captain, I do still have that one lying around. Triple captain will be when we've got a double game week, more likely, or when Mo Salah plays Southampton. So maybe that'll be the game week that I'll triple captain. I couldn't do it during any of the game weeks. The previous ones, I know Mo Salah got an incredible score, didn't he, really? But I assistant manager during that week, during the sort of 3 game weeks of that. So triple captain will be, I'll have a look at the fixtures, see when it's worthwhile bringing in the triple captain, and that'll be the moment that I do that, I think. So, yeah, that's my plan. Triple captain at that particular point, and then we'll see how we go in terms of the rest of the season. But yeah, my team is set up to a degree. It is good. It's solid. I like Isak. I like Wood. I like Mamouche when he starts playing. If Mamouche starts to slowly become a typical benched player and then brought on for a cameo, he will go eventually out of the team. There is Ollie Watkins. There's a few other strikers that I can bring in as a result of him being kicked out. Cunha, not quite yet, but maybe down the line. He's back 5th of April, so he's not too far away, a couple of game weeks away. Mateta, I don't know how severe his injury is. He's too bad, so maybe a couple of game weeks' time he might be back again. So there's Mateta maybe. There's Cunha to come in. Watkins I could potentially bring, but he might be a bit more of a rejig. So I can play around with players like that. I'm not too ruled out. And if Mamouche goes up in price, which he should do, that's good. He'll maybe bring me a bit more pennies in, and I might get an extra few, 7.2 for example, so that gives me money to work with if he does stop playing. But yes, that's my team. Let me know your team. Otherwise, I'll answer this question that I had before. The question was regarding this game week. Do you think I sell my Crystal Palace and Liverpool players or should I bench them? Well, first and foremost, that was a bit vague. Thanks, Paul. That was a bit vague. How many do you have? Obviously, I'm quite fortunate. I don't have Crystal players. I've got, I've got Isak, I've got Salah, and I've got Konate because I've been clever. Clearly, I guess from that question, you haven't been clever, my friend. What you should have done until this point is slowly started to transfer players out and used unless he needed surgery. You should really have started slowly transferring players out as you'd have gone along, really, and that would have allowed you then to get to a point where you only have maybe 2 or 3 of those players to get out, really. If you don't have that, then yeah, if you've got a lot, tricky one, really. I mean, how many transfers do you have? If you've got 1 or 2 now, you can quickly. Is it worth, wasting a transfer, a -4 or a -8 to bring out 2 players just for 1 game week? My opinion is no. I don't think it's going to be particularly high scoring game week, apart from some person who decides to triple captain one of the players, luckily, and they end up getting 2 goals or something like that. I don't think the majority of people are going to get massive scores this game week. I just think it's a bit of an awkward game week, really, even though it's 4 teams that aren't playing. If you can afford to, I would say, bench 3 of your players that are blanking and a possible goalkeeper. Leave. If you've got 4 players, for example, that are blanking, that's not the end of the world. It's 1 player that's not starting. You're going to have a starting 10, aren't you? Really, you'll miss out on maybe a couple of points. How many points will that player that you're missing out on really have scored? Bear in mind that Salah is going to be benched or out of people's teams. Isak's going to be benched or out of people's teams. Trent or Konate or Van Dijk defensively for Liverpool, he's going to be benched for most teams, so they're not going to get any points whatsoever. No one's getting the Liverpool or Newcastle points, so don't worry about that comparison. The question is, for the rest of your players, who would you have had? Have you got a Crystal Palace player? I mean, who Crystal Palace have you got? Mateta's out injured anyway, so he wouldn't have got any points if they were playing this game. Have you got Munoz? He might have done okay. Anywhere between a clean sheet maybe and an assist and a clean sheet. So yeah, really, you're looking at that side of things. Tricky one to sort of advise. Let me know more info on that one. You don't have much time to let me know. The cut-off point is 1:30 today, and I'll be out and about. But in general, my answer to that question, if you've got 4 outfield players, 3 on the bench, play the 1, and then have 10 starting is the answer to that. Especially if they're quite, Munoz, if you've got money tied up with a player, half the reason why I didn't sell Isak, Salah and Konate is because I've got money tied up with them, especially in Salah and Isak. I'm not willing to sell him for 1 game week to then have to splash out even more next game week. All the people who have sold Salah, who have sold Isak this game week, bear in mind, you've got to splash out 13.7 million to bring him back. And you only sold him at 13 point whatever it was, 1 or something. Same for Isak. You'd have to splash out too much, but he's going to cost you 9.3. I'm selling him at 9.1 this second. So, unless you've got a good plan in mind, my opinion would have been to just bench those 2, maybe 3 players and play what you've got. If it's really bad, to sort of answer your main question. If, let's say, you've got, 6 players or something like that, out or even more, because don't forget there's 4 teams blanking, maybe free hit. If you're down to sort of 3 or 4 or 5 players this game week and you're thinking, panic, maybe free hit this game week then, in that case. But, unless it's that bad, and let's say you can field 9, 10, even if you can squeeze that player, might only get 1 point, field the 11, field the 10, field the 9. But anything less than that, maybe consider a chip, but know that there's a much, much bigger blank game week, in my opinion, coming up in the game week 30s. So when it's 32, 33 stuff. So it'd be more prudent to try and save it until then, which is what I'm doing. If you have a look at the top of my screen, you'll see all my chips are the assistant manager. So I have a wild card, I'm a free hit. Bench boost is in there as well somewhere. So I've got the full works. So in that sense, at the moment, to sort of pull that trigger, and the free hits also there as well. So got the full works for me. The plan really is to wait for myself, yourself, Paul, if you asked that question. The reality, it's entirely up to you. It is entirely up to you, but my advice would be bench the players you know are going to be blanking this game week. Play 1 or 2 of the players that might also be blanking, so you got 5, let's say. Just go for it. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring week. I don't think your rank is going to get hit too heavy this week. Captain the right player. That is definitely going to be researching now for the rest of the sort of morning till the afternoon, is making sure I captain the right player? So there you go, ladies and gents. That's the answer to that question. If you've got any questions, drop them on YouTube. I'll have a chat to you guys straight after this. But otherwise, as always, thanks for watching. You've been great. I will see you, fantastic people, next Saturday, where I think we've got an international break. So we'll talk more about chips going forwards next game week. There isn't another game week. I don't think they'll be talking fantasy in terms of Premier League action until the 1st of April. So next game week will be all about talking about international duty, talking about who's playing, hoping no one gets injured, more importantly, for the 1st of April. But I will talk more about chips next game week because I've kept it solely to discuss it more next week when we've got an international break. But otherwise, as always, thank you so much for watching me perform my fantastic FPL Talk 41. I've been AJ. Hope you have a great Saturday. Hope your team do okay this blank game week. And more importantly, up the tune. I know, I'm neutral, but I really want Newcastle win tomorrow in the Carabao Cup final. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. I've been AJ. Peace.